Welcome back everyone, we're wrapping up Pokemon Inclement Emerald today. So we still have one more champion fight remaining, and after that we'll be able to get the final ticket, and we'll use that to sail off to the final island to catch our legendary. So it shouldn't be too long of an episode today, just some quick things to wrap up. And we'll be picking back up Ironhead, just because the final champion Stephen, he's kind of like a rock type and a steel type specialist. So with Ironhead, that's going to allow us coverage to take out one of his more sturdy Pokemon. And after that, we should be pretty much good. Oh, I forgot to give the Holucha our focus sash. So this fight's kind of easy for our team, just because Stephen kind of runs a balanced team, and his team didn't change all that much from Pokemon Emerald, the vanilla version. So most of his team members are not that strong right now. I just kept him for last because he's kind of like the final real Pokemon of the game. So without doing the rematches, and the rematches aren't all that good in this one either, so I just kind of like saved him for the last as kind of like the real champion, and we'll be fighting the real champion for the final episode. And let's put up the repel. And I don't know why they changed up the champion for Emerald. But originally Stephen is supposed to be the champion of the entire Hoenn region, and that was the case for Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire when this generation, when the Hoenn region was first introduced. But then for Emerald, for whatever reason, they just changed it to Wallace. And Wallace in this one, in this Romhack, he actually got a pretty decent team, but in the vanilla version his team wasn't all that great. So it's kinda happy for Wallace. But the downside is that we still don't get to fight Stephen inside of the Pokemon League. We have to go to this kind of an out-of-the-way location in order to find him. And this location, this room specifically, it isn't opened up until we have entered the Hall of Fame. So if we remember the time when we came back with our Rayquaza to get the to get the move Dragon Ascent, then this room wasn't here, even when we were picking up the TM. But now that it's open, we can find Stephen over here. And let me make sure I have the correct leading Pokemon. Yep. Okay, so we can talk to Stephen. Oh wow, Alex, I'm amazed you knew where to find me. Do you maybe think of me as just a rock maniac? Definitely not, I know you are the real champion. No, that can't be right. We battled alongside each other in the most deep space center. You should have a very good idea about how good I am. Yes, I do. Okay, Alex, if you are going to mount a serious challenge, expect the worst. So he's going to lead off with a Skarmory, which is what he does in Pokemon Emerald as well, in the vanilla version. But this Skarmory is going to have Sturdy, and he's going to try to set up hazards. And he has a Metagross that does kind of the job of our own Holucha, where your team would get weakened by all these hazards the Skarmory can send out. Oh, he's not using spikes? Okay. Sometimes he uses spikes, but I guess he decided not to this time. So a second flamethrower will take it out. And you can kind of understand the logic. With Sturdy, he will be able to get up 2 layers of spikes, or he'll be able to get up Stealth Rock and Spike together. And that kind of breaks any kind of focus sash, any like strategies like that. And Melmetal, this is a new team member. Melmetal was introduced in generation, I think just before generation 8 came out. But Melmetal, the way it works is that it has a really high physical attack and physical defense. It also has decent health, but it doesn't have good special defense. So without a Assault Vest, then this Melmetal is going to take a lot of damage from our Nidoking. And this is one of the parts where things can go wrong here. So we want our Holucha to come in, and we need the high jump kick to not miss. because if it misses, then the whole thing doesn't work out. Okay, so high jump kick connected, and the next coming Pokemon should be a Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl is one of those speedy, frail Pokemons that we used to really struggle against. But with the Holucia, with the Focus Sash, we'll be able to tank this Brave Bird, and that will activate our Unburden. And from here, we will pretty much be able to sweep his entire team without swapping out to any of our other team members. And this Aerodactyl is the reason why I picked up Iron Head. And with Iron Head, because Steel type attacks have a do bonus damage against Rock type Pokemon, then with a Sword Stance and with the Iron Head, that will one shot this Aerodactyl. So the Heat Train is coming out, but for some reason this AI isn't playing it properly. So this Heat Train is going to swap out after coming back in, and he'll swap into a Metagross. And the Metagross is going kind of like the Mega Evolution for Steven. So if this High Jump Kick connects, then it doesn't even matter, the Metagross will just go down. Or if he doesn't go down because oh, he doesn't, okay. So Acrobatics can take him out. And for whatever reason, this Metagross doesn't have Bullet Punch. So that's the second mistake Steven has with his team here. With Bullet Punch, then the Metagross will just get +1 priority, and that will take out our Holucia easily. But he doesn't, so the Metagross is down, the Heat Train is coming back out. He's going to swap out his Heat Train again into a Cradily, was it? Yeah. So Cradily is Rock type and Grass type, so we can't normally just hit it with not Earth power, yeah, Ground type attacks or Fire type attacks, because the Grass type gives it resistance against Ground type attacks, and the Rock type gives it resistance against Fire type attacks. So Iron Head is just perfect for this. Yep, so down goes to Cradily, and right now Holucia has done more than enough. So even if this High Jump Kick doesn't connect, it doesn't matter because we still have 4 other Pokemons that can take out this Heat Train. But the High Jump Kick connects, so this Heat Train is going to be going down. Yep, so that's Steven's. Kind of underwhelming for kind of like the final boss of the game, which is kind of a shame. If I had to make a couple changes, then I'd probably swap out the Cradily, and I'd probably swap out the Skarmory as well. But the Cradily and Skarmory are kind of like the main team member of Steven, so they can't really swap him out like that. But yeah, so Steven is saying he knew we would be doing great, and he's going to give us the final Aurora ticket. Yep, so that's the Aurora ticket. And we can just take the Aurora ticket and go to the final island, but there's actually one other legendary that I missed out when we were here the first time, so we'll just go and catch that before taking the ferry to the final island. And I think this is actually a really good Romhack. Hold on, let me make sure I land in the correct position. Because you can overshoot, and if you take this ledge over here, then you'll just end up where you started. But I like how this Romhack made things harder, but not like crazy difficult, where enemy trainers can use Mega Evolution multiple times. So it kind of strikes that nice balance between being difficult but still making sense. And Hoenn region as a whole is just a really cool region as well. Oh, so this is Shirachi. The last time we were here, I don't think I had the Master Ball, so I just skipped it, so we don't have to like click the Ultra Ball like 50 times before catching it. And I think this is kind of like the generic legendary music for Generation 3, so I'm not going to, like last time, just let the music play a little bit. I'm just gonna toss out the Master Ball straight away. And I think Jirachi was the mythical Pokemon for Generation 3. So each generation they would have these Pokemon called mythical Pokemon that are supposed to be kind of like the pair to the box art, not to the box art, to the legendary Pokemon of the generation. So in this generation, we have the ancient Pokemon. We have Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, and the generation is also supposed to have a mythical Pokemon to go along with it. So in Generation 1, there was Mew, and then in Generation 2, there was Celebi, and then in Generation 3, there's Jirachi. I don't remember what's the mythical for Generation 4. Was it Manaphy? It's probably Manaphy. And then in Generation 5 we have Victini, and then I think in Generation 6 we have what, like we have was it Diancie? Or was it Magearna? Magearna is probably Generation 7. But the idea is that they are kind of like the lesser known legendary compared to the more hot-headed box art legendaries or the like the story legendaries. These mythicals kind of have their own story that is separate from the main quest of the region. Okay, so we are going to be taken to the Birth Island. The Birth Island is where we find Deoxys. And to get to Deoxys, we actually have this kind of cool triangle puzzle. So the way this triangle works is we have to take the least amount of steps to the next interaction. So we don't need the repel anymore. So say for example, if we take one step extra, so right now this is the shortest amount of steps, but if I move away and I take the longer steps, then it resets back to the middle. So this first interaction doesn't matter, but the next one we have to take the shortest amount of steps. And I don't really know how people figured out that's how it works when it first came out. But yeah, we can see the closer we are to completing the puzzle, then the hotter like this kind of metal actually gets. So this is the final click that we get to do. The moment I click interact with this triangle, then Deoxys will appear. There it is. And Deoxys is cool because it has multiple forms that you can switch up in-game. This was not the case when it first came out. When it first came out, I think Ruby and Sapphire had one version, Emerald had one version, and then Fire Red and Leaf Green had another version. And I'll just let the music play a little bit here. I don't know if this is the Generation 6 music or not, but I think this music is unique to Deoxys, so I'll just let it play a little bit before tossing out our Master Ball. But Psycho Boost, because Deoxys doesn't have Contrary like the Girafarig from last episode, then he's going to be losing his special attack each time that he uses it. And I'm not going to risk taking out this Deoxys, because Deoxys, while it can have really high speed, attack, and physical attack, it doesn't actually have all that much health. So even on something like a Steelix, if I use a physical attack, I'm afraid I might actually take it out. So I'm just going to stick to catching, tossing up Ultra Balls, let the music play a little bit, and then once we've had enough of it, then we'll just swap back to the Master Ball and complete the encounter. Yeah, this Deoxys basically has no special attack right now. So even with the measly like 50 special defense of Steelix, with the resistance we'll actually be able to survive a long time here. Oh, and the forms of Deoxys. So I think starting from a certain generation, was it generation 5 or generation 4? But after that we now have basically an in-game option to swap the form of Deoxys. So if you are not just stuck with the version that you are getting now, once you have the Deoxys Pokemon, then you can actually change it to whatever form that you actually like. Okay, I think that's enough of the music. We can just toss out the Master Ball. And Deoxys is basically one of the hardest legendaries to catch. Just because it has a low chance to be caught already, and it also doesn't have all that much health, so like if you want to catch it the normal way, then you pretty much have to bring a really specialized setup for it. Oh, and if you try to interact with this triangle again, then nothing would happen. So we'll go back to the main island, and I'll just show off how to change the form of Deoxys, and that's basically where I'll be calling the series. So we can go to the professor where he researches meteorites. I think it's this house. Yep. And then we can talk to this guy. Wait, what? Oh, because we don't have Deoxys with us in the party, that's why. Okay, so let me boot up the PC and swap out. What are we swapping out? We can swap out our mismatches. And take out the Deoxys with us. Yep, so now that Deoxys is with us, he has made a discovery. It seems the meteorite he was carrying has something to do with Deoxys, and if we expose Deoxys to it, then it will allow us to change the form of Deoxys. I think Deoxys, the speed form right now is the most popular. Defense form isn't all that popular unless you want to run a defensive team, and offensive form, because the power creep has gone up, then the attack form of Deoxys is kind of too fragile right now for it to be a good attacker. So speed form is kind of like the most popular version. And if we go over to the Pokédex, I don't know if this Pokédex shows the correct Deoxys form. But the space stat of Deoxys actually changes depending on which form you are in as well. So speed form, we have really high speed. I think it's at 180 base speed. Does it show the correct stats? No, it doesn't. Okay, we'll have to swap to the calculator. So we can go to Deoxys. And so the normal form, it has 150 attack, special attack, and speed. But if we swap over to the speed form, then it doesn't have as high attack and special attack, but it has really high speed. So you can use it to lay a bunch of spikes. You can give it something like a focus sash, so you can land stealth rock and maybe something like toxic spikes, or you can give it something like light screen and protect. You can not light screen and protect, light screen and reflect, something like that. Defensive form, you have high defense and special defense, but you don't have that much health. So even with the high stats, then it still won't be able to do all that much. And attack, it has 180 in both attack and special attack, which I think is the same as a Rayquaza Mega. Is it? Let's see. Yeah, it's the same as a Mega Rayquaza in terms of attack and special attack, but it doesn't have good defenses compared to the Rayquaza. It doesn't have good health, so it's not all that great, because now you can die to something like a Sucker Punch. You can die to something like Stealth Rock and then another priority attack. So it's not all that great right now, because other Pokemons have gotten a lot stronger. But yeah, that's basically Deoxys. And that's basically most of the main storylines and Pokemon in this Romhack completed. So I'll be calling it early over here. We are only 20 minutes in. But thank you everybody for watching, and I'll be taking the rest of the week off. Next week we'll be starting up a new series, so I'll come back next week for that. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the week, and thank you everybody for watching.